Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Tess Michaels. Tess is the founder of Stride Funding. Tess, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, give us a brief background about yourself, what you've been doing before Stride.
Yeah, absolutely. I've really split my career between mission-driven startups and finance. So began my career working on a software company in the analytics space, helping corporations with their CSR programs. We had a small exit there, and then I transitioned to finance. Spent a few years in New York at Goldman doing investment banking, and then did software investing at Best Equity Partners, which I loved. But really missed the operating seat, and had a pretty natural journey toward founding Stride, which I'm happy to go into.
So, what was the thought process behind actual moment, when you thought, okay, Stride it is?
Yeah, the aha. So it actually happened very organically. So I was actually a graduate student at Harvard, entering school, thinking about my own financing options, and realizing that once you add, books and housing and tuition, school is gets very, very expensive. And so as I started talking to peers about how they were thinking about funding, their graduate education and what are the different options, I came across income share agreements, or ISAs, which I found intellectually fascinating, but realized at the time ISAs were just still such a nascent concept, and we're not mainstream at all. I couldn't have actually gotten access, and so then began the journey to really create a more accessible product via direct-to-student channel, and then expand with partnerships with schools to really create the right risk and incentive alignment.
Interesting. And how's the journey been so far?
Yeah, so it has been probably the most busy but amazing 2 years so far. I think being an entrepreneur, you obviously wear quite a lot of hats, and no day is the same. But I'm definitely really proud of the team that we've built and the partners that we've brought on board, and the impact that honestly we've been able to have, even just from a smaller scale, student to student, really hearing those stories firsthand. And so it's been a whirlwind for sure.
Nice, interesting. So, unfortunate times because of pandemic COVID-19, but
Yes.
it's acting as a catalyst for some industries while affecting the others. So
Yeah.
how is it affecting Stride right now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating to see just how quickly the world has evolved and keeps evolving in 2020. I think from our perspective, it's been a really interesting market, especially for education, as schools think through what education even looks like for this upcoming year. Is it online? Is it on campus? What's the right format? From our perspective, for the actual product, it's been a really strong catalyst. Given income share agreements, the concept is, instead of a traditional loan where there are fixed obligations, here students are paying a fixed percentage of income over just 5 years, right? So it's much more flexible as a way of funding school. You earn less, you pay less, and it really helps students stay resilient in times of uncertainty, which you see now in the market. So the actual top line demand for the product is definitely stronger, but I think the ways we've had to think through this is, what types of markets does this make sense for? And we've definitely started shifting a lot more into alternative education, which we see as a huge tailwind in this market, as students look for ways to make use of potential gap years, or ways to upskill or reskill in more cost-effective ways. It truly an interesting time to be in ed tech, and we hope to be a small piece of hopefully the change that's about to come. So yeah.
So last question, being a founder, especially a startup founder, fast-moving startup founder, managing over Zoom, looking after the team's health, onboarding new customers, creativity, marketing, technology, investors. How are you coping?
Yep.
What's the secret sauce?
Yeah, so I will say it is moments like this that makes me appreciate the type of people that we have in the team, that make going through a global pandemic and going through an ever-evolving, education landscape manageable. I think the main things we've thought through is really how to ensure that we still stay connected, even in moments like this. So, for example, every week we have all hands meetings, and we've been building in, bonding sessions throughout it. So we've done, one evening that's improv, another that's game night, another that's trivia night, just little things to keep the team feeling very connected, beyond just professional realms. The second is really doing more pulse checks and really making sure that everyone really feels like they are, cared for and acknowledged, especially as we onboarded a set of interns remotely, which is, of course, an interesting experience. The last is, of course, realizing that this may be the new normal. And so during this moment, we actually ended up closing on more venture capital funding. We also raised more ISA funding to fund more students, all during, the current situation. And so a lot of it is just staying mentally resilient and realizing that we still can make things work, even if the way it plays out is slightly different than what we used to think was normal. But there's a lot to come for sure. So.
Tess, thank you so much for being on the show. Take care of yourself, take care of your team, and
thank you.
We'll keep on get to hear amazing news coming from Stride Funding. All the best with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.